Welcome to this week's Talking Codswallop. I am a very hot and steamy Gemma.
I'm a cool as a cucumber as ever, James.
I doubt that very much, because no matter what the temperature is outside, I don't know that, you could cope with this real heat.
Lies, all lies. Ironically, it's currently warmer here than it is with you.
I know, it's insane, isn't it? Because I'm dealing with 31 degree heats, which is, I think it's about 45, something like that in Fahrenheit. And you're nearly at 90 degrees Fahrenheit, aren't you? Which is like 37
I'm
degrees.
at 37.
Oh, 37 in a row.
There's a tad warm out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Ironically, it's cooler in here in the house than it is outside. It's not trapping as much heat. So my recording studio, aka my study, isn't too bad.
Oh, well, that's all right then. So you're not a big pool of sweat like I am then?
Not last time. Well, I was. When I was outside, I was getting a bit that way, but I, managed to cool off when I got inside. So, yeah. But I'm sorry you're feeling so warm. But in case you haven't guessed, Salty Tadpoles, we are having a heat wave in the UK.
Yes.
And as usual in the UK, we have two things. We complain when it's too cold and we complain when it's too hot. So
we just complain, actually, don't we?
Yeah, we're quite a moaning nation, to be honest.
Yeah. Hence talking Codswallop.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, so what? A few fields have set on fire. No, that isn't actually good. Being serious, that isn't good.
No.
That's been happening around here. It's happening down south. It is warm, so it is. Yeah, be careful, everyone.
Yeah, I think the thing that I feel the most sorry for at the moment is Mr. Socks. Is he just can't get comfortable anywhere, unfortunately, because he's a big furry black dog, and it's like, it's like I keep going to him, come on, have some water, and to be fair, he is, I'm just making sure he drinks plenty of water, and he keeps finding like shaded areas, so, he knows what to do, he's not stupid, well, most of the time, but, at the same time,
Depends on the day, doesn't it, with Mr. Socks?
Yeah, absolutely. But when it's for his own benefit, I think he's pretty sensible. So, but he has been so struggling the last few days. It's been unbearable for him. So every time that I've sort of looked at the weather, or been outside and thought, oh God, I'm so hot, I just look at him and I go, you know what? Stop moaning.
How do you deal with taking him out?
Well, we've got a big garden anyway, so he can run around in the garden and obviously do his necessary business. And then, with regards to obviously the last few days, we've not taken him out at all. We last took him out on Saturday, which was equally warm, but where we went was, because me, Mum and Graham, we all took him out, which was nice. We went to, I won't bother saying where the area is because anybody who's listening wouldn't know anyway, but we went to this sort of real grassy, bit, which was right by the water as well. So it was like, it had this amazing wind. So I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Those who confuse Salty Tadpoles, we call those fields.
Well, it kind of is a field. It's, but it's like, it's not a typical field, if you know what I mean. So yeah, because it's like, there's literally a roadside and then there's this grassy bit and then there's like, like a bit of a slope leading down to the water. So it's not a massive field. So you're technically right, but you're technically wrong. So grassy bit is more right.
A grassy area. It's interesting though when you talk about, obviously, because you see people talk about you've got to be careful taking dogs out. And there was somebody walking a dog earlier today, and I'm sure they had like the dog had some sort of foot protectors on. She was making like a clippy clopping noise, almost like you would hear with a horse. So it had something on that obviously protected its feet. And I felt a bit again, it was a big sort of furry, very furry dog. So it was probably, it was taken out early, so it's probably taking it out to get its exercise and not be too hot, but it was making some very interesting noises.
Yeah. Well, do you know what, jokingly, I actually said this to Graham this morning. I said, oh, well, wouldn't it be good if we could actually get dog shoes or socks, socks for socks. And so that they could like go out in this heat, because the problem is obviously the tarmac is really hot. So, like, to test it, if you were to put I'm sure all dog owners know this, but, if you were to put your bare foot down on it, and if you can't put your bare foot on it without, flinching, then there's no business that a dog should be walking on it, really. Which I think is fair enough. Or any animal, really. But dogs are the ones that really get walked, aren't they? Rather than a rabbit or a cat or whatever. Although some people do, so, Yeah,
I was going to say you've been a bit rabbitist, but you do generally just see people, certain people walking their animals about. But yeah, I do feel rather sorry, I think, for the sheep and the cows and things in the field near me, because obviously it is rather hot for them. But they're not, rather like socks, they're not daft. They try and find shade where they can, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll rain soon. I mean, it's supposed to be raining this afternoon, but that seems to have been held off. But see, partly what I've not done is the usual tried and tested technique I use, which is one of two things. I leave my chair out and I leave the car window slightly open. And without fail, every time I've done that, it's rained. Because there's been nothing forecast overnight. It's like, yes, fine, I'll leave the window slightly open, leave the chair out for tomorrow, all will be well, bit of rain. So yeah, but nothing today, even though right now, as we speak, it's supposed to be thunder and lightning, but it's not happened yet. I hope you're all happy and listening, Salty Tadpoles, because we've now gone from car corner to weather corner.
Well, if Brits don't like to bitch about the weather, then they're listening to the wrong podcast, because we definitely do. But we did actually have thunder and lightning earlier and a little bit of rain. I went out and danced in the garden, I'm not going to lie, and I was very, very happy because the thunder just sort of clears the air, doesn't it? And it was so nice.
Yep.
It's equally gone back as being as hot again, so.
When she dances around the garden, the neighbours have got like the mental institution on speed dial going, she's gone mad. She's crazy. She's just dancing around in the rain.
No, they joined me, actually. It's like a tradition in Dorset. I don't know if you knew that.
Along with the headless sex dolls.
Yes.
Cha-ching, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why the sex doll was headless, because the guy was spinning it around. And it lost its head.
Oh. Doing what? We cannot say. We dare not say.
Was it spinning round its head or spinning round its body? Who knows?
The fear and the idea this creates.
Well, just before we started recording, James was about to tell me a story. And I said, is this podcast worthy? Because, me and James can't talk to one another unless it's recorded. So,
I always say the podcast wife, it's like we're divorced or going through a divorce.
No.
We use the podcast as the mediation tool.
No, there's too much love here to be getting divorced.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. I mean, I do get the constant back pain where every once in a while, just to keep me behaved, Gemma stabs a really sharp pain to this voodoo doll she's got of me. But it's just to keep me in line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's also to keep, Dean in business.
It is. It does. It keeps, in fact, the more I think about it, it makes perfect sense. You and Dean are obviously in cahoots, and all my various aches and pains, it all makes sense now. It all makes perfect sense. You're just keeping the economy going.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, exactly. We didn't want to tell you early on. We didn't want to, sort of let the cat out of the bag, but I feel it's time. After, nearly 4 years. I think we should let you know. So what happened today then?
It's a bit of a strange one. It's not one, I would have expected to have seen.
Oh, did aliens land in the garden or something?
No.
Oh.
But it does have it does link to the garden. So,
okay.
As we've said, it's been very hot. So I'm sat in the garden and suddenly green fly everywhere. Just a few of them at first. And I'm like, okay, nothing too much. They land on me, but I get rid of them. And then thousands of them swarming. And I do mean thousands of them. So much that I basically was like, right, I've got to go inside. But the problem is, I mean, they lasted like nearly an hour, and we're talking, the car was covered in them. they all then died when they obviously, I assume the heat of the car, they kind of bake. But the problem is that, of course, they take a liking to things like my roses and other plants. So once they'd all gone, after about an hour, I've had to trek down and buy like a spray that will kill them off, a pesticide that will kill them, but not my plants. But yeah, it was both disgusting and fascinating at the same time. But when I say thousands, I kind of wish I'd taken pictures of the car to show, because they were just like, well, they'd all gone wherever they'd gone to. Loads of them. Ugh. Horrible.
Is that like a typical thing that happens this time of year, or is that something that was just like a phenomenon?
From what I understand, it's something that it's a bit of a phenomena in relation to the weather. When the weather gets warmer, it's less windy, they will suddenly just descend en masse, but then they will suddenly just go. And it's happened every few years across the country in other areas where they'll suddenly swarm, but there were loads of them, absolutely loads of them. So, but they're not going to eat my plants, damn it. Well, I'm hoping not. So, yeah, but it was a truly kind of weird and cool thing as it happened. I thought, this is podcast worthy. It's so strange and bizarre and disgusting.
Yeah. I feel as though, unfortunately, though, because I referenced the fact that it could have been to do with aliens, that I took the sting right out of that story, You
did rather, yeah.
Or the buzz.
Unless there's a giant planet of green fly, of course, that we're not aware of.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. It could have, I don't know.
You never know.
It does sound like it could be. But no, and also your roses have been through far enough, haven't they?
They've been through hell. Not only is it bad enough that you have to have me looking after them, bad weather, good weather, you name it, creatures. It's happened to them all. Yeah. But it is therapeutic. Kind of.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. But at least, and they're still here to tell the story, aren't they? So far. Touch wood.
They're probably now cursed, and the little aphids that I've seen that were on them that I managed to get off, that had landed on other plants, hopefully won't have started eating them yet. But I'll give them a good spray with this killer stuff later on, and hopefully it'll get rid of any of the aphids. But it's the joys of, it's a bit like anything, the joys of home ownership, the joys of gardening, car ownership. It never ends. There's always something. It's also what we call the hell of being an adult.
Yes. I don't like adulting.
No. It's not as much fun as it was originally cracked up to be.
No. So basically, we've gone from the weather to the garden, and then you've referenced a car. So I need to now tell my story about my car.
Ooh. Let me get comfortable. I like car corner stuff.
Now, we'll go into car corner, and then I suppose it could be Codswallop as well. So let's get into what a load of Codswallop as well, because, actually, I think it falls under that. So my Codswallop this week is my car, as I just alluded to. So all of a sudden I was driving around absolutely fine, and and I got stuck in traffic, and it started making like this weird juddering feeling, like really like as if I was bouncing up and down sort of thing, one of those hyped up cars that actually does the wheel bounces kind of thing. It's a bit like one of those.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah. And so this was all going ahead and whatnot, and I was like, this is not good. And then my dashboard came up with a couple of wonderful little lights, and I was like, oh yay, because there's nothing better than seeing a couple of lights when you can't afford to pay for the car. So it turned out, with regards to the lights, that it was my coil pack, and it was also the spark plugs. So, and that had been an issue that I'd had literally the month before, a couple of weeks, or I think it was days actually, after I actually received the car. So I was like, that's not fair. So so of course my warranty has run out already. So, and it literally ran out last month.
That's part of the course. It's like my alloy wheel thing.
Yeah.
It's always part of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. So £350 later, I'm, driving around in a car that's perfectly fine now. But I did actually sort of raise the question as to why, when I sent it to the car dealer, the, like obviously after a couple of days of owning it, didn't they actually replace it then? All they did was they cleaned it out and they put the original one back in, and the damage had already been done. My niece's boyfriend, he's also called James. He works for the Vauxhall dealership. So he took the part in to see if there was any way that I could sort of claim any of the money back, really. But he has unfortunately messaged me today and he's informed me that it's not going to be able to happen. So, which is a shame. But yeah, it's a real pain in the ass, because it's always the way, isn't it? It's like if you own a washing machine or anything, it's like as soon as the warranty goes out, it's like, I'm going to die, Yeah,
you've got to wonder, is it built in to do that?
Yeah, I think it is.
But I never used to buy into it, but the more I kind of see it happening, the more I wonder if it is the reality of the situation, that these things are designed to just die at a certain point. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you at least managed to get it fixed and it wasn't like a life. At least it wasn't a life-threatening thing that happened, touch wood.
No.
So, yeah, that's good. But I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it is what it is. So you just got to deal with it, haven't you? That's what life throws at you sometimes. But there was a funny part when I was trying to get home. Because obviously I still needed to get home. I was driving up a hill, and I started off by driving up the hill 30 mile an hour. But because of the service engine light coming on, basically it
Limp.
Yeah, it reduces my car down. So as I was trying to get up this hill, I literally had my foot to the floor. Like I was almost Fred Flintstone, kind of running up the hill would have been better. Or, that singer, been running up that hill. Anyway, thanks for laughing. But, it's basically...
I was just thinking Stranger Things for trying to claim that song. But anyway, carry on.
Well, we'll get into Stranger Things in a minute. But, so anyway, it turned out, I was getting up this hill and I was so close to the top, but I was doing 10 mile an hour, and the whole time I'm going, I'm sorry, everybody, I'm sorry. But people were being really patient with me, so that was good. But
it is. I mean, the limp home thing mode is useful in a sense. It protects the car, but I'm sure it can be more of a pain and potential problem.
Yeah.
Than it can do good. But the positive thing is you've survived it, you've got through it, the car hasn't, touch wood, imploded or done that. We've seen a lot in these hot circumstances where you keep seeing people posting pictures where cars have burst into flames.
No.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is really scary. Yeah, I've got to go to the office tomorrow, so yay, thanks, James.
It's all good. When it sets on fire, you can go, hey, James prophesied that might happen.
Yeah. Hopefully I get out beforehand, eh?
Yeah. Oh, I assume you'll have got out. In fact, to be fair, use the heat created by the fire to light a cigarette while you're watching it.
Oh, I will. I'm that badass. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there was something else that was... I'm sure that other things have pissed me off other than like the heat and stuff like that, but that's my main focus at the moment. So
I mean, I'm quite impressed, Gemma, because with your levels of rage, you normally have more than one thing you can get wound up and rally against.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's because it's so hot that it's mushed my brain. So that's the thing, is that, it's a lot calmer, Gemma, because, or maybe it's the counselling. Maybe the counselling's helping,
Possibly. One would hope so. That is the purpose of counselling. You're supposed to ease the troubled waters and turn them from a raging torrent to a gently babbling brook.
Yes, exactly. But not quite yet. Not quite yet, But yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. So, have you got any Codswallop this week? I suppose Greenfly with your Codswallop.
Greenfly, yeah, would probably be my Codswallop. So, as long as they don't kill my stuff off, there will be a minute Codswallop. It was just quite an interesting thing to experience. My Codswallop can be the fact that Eurowings, yes, that is Eurowings, have still not got back to me.
Yes, we did bombard them on Twitter the other day well, didn't we?
We did, and it's interesting to see that, there's still basically no response from them. And give it 3 days, and it will be a month since the problems happened with the flight. So they watch this space, people. They've still not responded to anything. They are being retweeted by our lovely AUN network colleagues and other people I know. So really it's I am not impressed and happy, but I'm one of many from what I'm seeing. So Eurowings, get your act together.
Yeah. It's like MPOW all over again, isn't it? Yeah, with the headset.
The words customer service no longer mean anything to anybody. So, but hey, we will keep going as required.
Yes, absolutely.
But we'll park that one to one side. The Chronicles of Eurowings will continue until I've got it resolved. So
yes, and you've got to keep on them, like almost email them every single day. Become the biggest nuisance ever. You know. Yeah.
One of many, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, but why should you sit back? You know, it's there's no reason for you to sit back.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of companies who do this to people. They expect people to basically just give up because they're sick of getting no response. But I don't think that's fair on the customer. It isn't just about me on this or my family. It's about in general. They are delivering a service that is so below standard, below anything it should be, below anything you'd expect from probably some of the lowest companies, because this is a Lufthansa subsidiary. So you would expect more from them. They're a large company. So I will keep going at them over this. It is not going to end because, frankly, me and others are not happy with this, and you've seen this repeatedly.
Is it worth actually contacting the company that owned them? Then I can't remember what you just called them.
Lufthansa. It's certainly possible. It may. I'll give them a little more time to see how they respond, and then I may make a direct contact with Lufthansa. I have a few more arrows in my quiver, so we will see how things progress. Watch this space, Salty Tap Bowls. Yeah,
he's going to be a featured story in the Metro very soon, I think, as well.
Where it suddenly just grinds to a halt, and everyone's going, "What else happened?"
Yeah. You're just going to do that typical photo. Hopefully you're wearing your Talking Codswallop t-shirt, but you'll have...
Please, not the photo. With the grumpy, miserable face that's in every one.
Yeah, with your arms crossed.
God, no. Oh, terrible. Oh, God. No, I would not want to do that pose, that's for sure.
No. Or you could do the shruggy shoulders kind of like emoji type pose, like I don't know, like the confused.com picture.
The head in my hands one. Yeah, the head in my hands.
Yeah, all that.
Could do that one. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. But as long as you're wearing your Talking Codswallop t-shirt, that's all I ask for. Yeah. That's all I ask, okay?
It'll make no sense to the people reading
Doesn't matter. It will make sense to everybody who's listening, and it will make people go, wonder what that is.
Yes. And then they will do their research.
Yeah. And then the Metro will do their research and they'll be like, oh my God, we can't print this story. They've slated us so many times. Sorry, James, nobody cares.
Yep. The Metro completely banned us in general, so we never can have any sort of contact with them.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we're still allowed to access their website, to be honest.
Well, maybe they'll produce something good. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, they do say that there's no such thing as bad press. So, not that I think that we're press, but, it's, what we're doing. We're offering a service here.
We are.
Yeah. So have you watched anything fun recently, like Stranger Things or anything like that?
Nope, I haven't watched any Stranger Things. To be fair, I haven't really watched anything.
You can't see me right now, but I'm shaking my head at you in disappointment.
No, I know. I could sense it. I could sense the head shaking. But no, I'm honest, I haven't actually really watched anything. So I've generally been out doing a little bit of walking, or I had some people, had family visit. So I've not really watched anything. I know I will get back onto the Stranger Things bandwagon. Not even watched The Boys, not even seen that, so... Yeah.
I really want somebody... I mean, I've got people that I can talk to about it, but I really want to, talk to you about it, because I know that how brilliant it is.
I could pass you over to my friend Luke, who's seen it and hates it, so you could have a conversation with him. He sent me a message going, this is crap, it's boring me.
I mean, that's fair. And if you also have that viewpoint, that is absolutely fair. But at least you've tried it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I like it. That's why I got the text off Luke. I'd said, you might want to check this out. And he was like, it's crap. It's boring me. But you like Ghostbusters Afterlife, didn't he? He said, yes, all the kids from that is in that. And he's like, yeah, he still wasn't interested.
No. Yeah. Finn Wolfhard is really
that's the one,
the
Finn,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah. He's done wonderful things, hasn't he? Since Stranger Things.
He has. And Millie Bobby Brown's done wonderful things, including not attending conventions. But we digress.
Yes. Well, there we go. Well, I personally have been watching... Oh, I knew what one of my other Codswallops was, so it's related to this.
Fire away.
Okay, so you ready? So yeah, I've been watching the last two Spider-Man movies because I didn't realise that I hadn't seen... I think it was Spider-Man Far From Home. And so I actually sat down and started watching No Way Home. And I was like, well, hold on, this kind of doesn't make any sense here. So I paused it for a moment because it's actually, we've got Sky Movies at home. So I was like, oh, brilliant. So I'll just watch it on there because it was available to sort of download for free, or free within the subscription, kind of thing. So yes, I did that. And I thought, oh no, well, obviously I'm going to have to watch the other film first because, it's Marvel film. So, it doesn't make sense otherwise, does it? So I went and did a little search to see if I could find, Far From Home. Sorry, I'm really hesitating today. It's really bad. It's the heat. But Far From Home, and I saw it there, and I was like, oh, brilliant. But to rent it, it was like £2.70, which is not a lot of money. I know, so it's not a big deal. I paid that, and then downloaded it and whatnot. So I finished watching that film, and when I pressed sort of like back up to go to normal TV. What film do you think then, James, was actually on the telly?
So you're wanting to see Spider-Man.
Yeah. So I downloaded and paid for, or rented, Spider-Man Far From Home, which was the one just before the last one that's come out. And then I sort of, I'd finished watching it. It was all fantastic, brilliant. So yeah, so you press back up to go back to normal TV. And that was the film that was actually playing on the actual TV. So I didn't have to pay. I was going to say, so yeah, would it be the fact that you could have got away with paying nothing? So I what you're now telling me is that they're actually, the TV people are now against you. They're actually purposely mocking you. Shocking. It literally, it was like halfway through. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. I literally, if I'd have waited and just checked the planner or whatever, which I didn't think to do, because, you don't think to do that really, do you?
No.
And it's, it was playing. So, I mean, like I said, it's only £2.70, so it's not breaking the bank or anything. But at the same time, it's like, for God's sake, I could have actually watched it for free.
Interesting, though, when you mentioned films, when I was actually in WH Smith's, and I was looking at the price because the Batman is out on, well, I think the one I saw was the one on DVD, and it was like £10 or thereabouts. And I was thinking, it's actually probably cheaper to wait until because the speed now that things hit home media, it's probably cheaper to actually wait and just watch it at home than go to the cinema. Do you think about the entire cost of going to a cinema? So you've got to travel there, you've got to buy a ticket, you probably will buy drinks and things like that. Yeah, it's probably actually cheaper just to wait. Yeah,
and I think that's what's making the cinemas suffer at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but it. Yeah, the problem is, though, it's going to be the case now because, unfortunately, it's been available for us. Obviously, during the pandemic and stuff, it was a lot quicker than it is, currently, but it's still a fast process that it actually goes out to regular sort of streaming services and whatnot. So, yeah.
It totally is. I mean, I remember I was talking to Sean about this, saying how it's if you think back, I mean, Sean's younger than both of us, but if you think back to when we were younger, and yes, Gemma, I know you're younger than me, but if we think back to when we were younger, the period you would wait between a film being at the cinema and going to home media or home video or whatever it would be at the time would be immense.
Yeah.
You'd be talking a humongous gap, and now you're talking months in some cases. It is quite amazing. And I even remember this, we're sidetracking site, but when you used to have really long runs of films at cinemas, and that doesn't even seem to be the case anymore.
No, I don't. I've noticed that as well. It's got an in and out kind of turnover very quickly now, isn't it? So
it is.
Yeah.
So, Salty Tadpoles, I hope if you're enjoying listening to middle-aged people reminiscing about cinema and film experiences.
It was another film that I recommend as well, which I actually watched, which is called Summerland. Have you seen that one or not?
I don't think so.
No.
It doesn't ring a bell.
It's got Gemma Atherton in it.
Ooh, yeah. I know who she is, yeah.
Yeah, and Penelope Wilton as well. So they're the main people in it that you kind of recognise. There are a few other faces as well from other things, but they're the main people that you recognise, really. But basically, what this film is about is based in World War II. So there's this sort of reclusive writer, and she is... so she's keeps herself to herself and she just enjoys life that way. Sorry about that, frog in the throat. And she prefers it that way. But she actually gets a evacuee called Frank, because obviously he's from London Blitz and whatnot, and he's left in her care, which she's really, really unhappy about. And it's kind of like the story of the reasons why she is so frustrated by the fact that he's there, kind of thing. And also the story of her life. There's kind of flashbacks and stuff like that. But you also see like this blossoming friendship come between this obviously Alice and Frank, which is, really nice that she, can see her heart melting, it's almost like the Grinch, kind of thing, but in human form. But also it's quite an interesting twist as well in it as well, which I won't go into, but his mum is known by Alice, but she doesn't know this until quite further on in the film. But I won't let you know how they know each other. I
will add it to the list. Have a look for. I'm having a quick look while I'm talking to you. The IMDb page. It looks interesting.
It's really, really good. It's one of those films, because sometimes with films I might listen to it rather than actually watch it. Like I might be playing on my phone or whatever, and I'm sort of listening to what's going on with the film or whatever, if it's not really gripping me, but obviously if I'm just watching on my own, I'll just turn it off. But if I'm watching it with somebody else, but with this one, I was like gripped. It was really, really good, like from start to finish. So I highly recommend that film.
I will definitely have a look for it. One film I'm also trying to work out how I can watch it is Kilroy Was Here.
Okay.
The new Kevin Smith film. I'm still, I don't know if the boat has sailed for me, because it was something like you have to have NFTs, whatever the hell they are, some sort of purchase thing.
Yeah, I think they're like little pictures or something. I don't 100% know what they are either.
But yeah, I think the boat may have sailed for that one, so I might have to wait till it comes out on home media to actually see that. But I was looking at the trailer, it looked quite amusing. And he does stick to something I said when Kevin Smith made Tusk. I'm like, he should definitely make an actual horror, another horror film, and he's done it.
Yeah.
So it should be quite interesting to see what it's like. And Frank's in it. So even more reason to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, talking about Kevin Smith, there was a recent trailer as well, wasn't there, that we haven't talked about yet?
Oh, yes.
For Clerks III.
I had to think what it was. Thinking, what have I seen trailer-wise for that he's done? Because I could think of was Kilroy. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that isn't that recent. Yeah. It was Clerks III.
Yes, it was. What did you think of it?
When I first saw it, I was like, okay, I'm not feeling it, because I thought, okay, so he's basically just taken his heart attack and he's telling a story about himself, and that's that, and he's transposing it onto his characters, and that's it. And I was like, meh. And then I thought about it again. I thought, well, that's Kevin Smith's. That's what the genesis of Clerks was. It was him talking about his experiences. So I thought I'll rewatch it, just see if it, if it sparks some more interest. I rewatched it. I was like, yeah, I totally got focused in and hooked in, and thought this is going to be a good film. Once I rewatched, first time, as I say, it didn't do anything for me. Second time, I was like, yeah, I can dig this. This will be a good film. What about you?
I had a very similar thought, to be honest. My first viewing of it was like, oh, here we go again, I love, I love all the Clerks, and I love to see, you're going to have to help me with his name. The guy, oh my God, not Brian O'Halloran, the other guy, Jeff Anderson. Yes. It was amazing to see like Jeff Anderson back as well, because obviously he said that he wasn't ever going to do acting again. But at the same time, it kind of just seemed a bit samey at first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, here we go again. Here's, the same sort of story again. And then, like you said, I rewatched it and I thought, well, actually, very, I don't want to sound like I'm copying you, but I did have pretty much the same viewpoint as you did, really, that actually this still could be a good film. And I don't know about, the fact that they're doing the individual viewings again, that it's not a wide screen viewing, wide release, as I should say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame in some ways. But I suppose it'll be quite fun to actually go and do like they did with the Jay and Silent Bob film.
It will be interesting. I mean, I just want to, I think it will be good. I mean, I'm definitely feeling that Affleck will be the bomb in this film. Probably for only the small part he's in it, but I was like, yeah, there's Affleck. That's cool, because I generally like pretty much everything Affleck does. But I think it could be a good film. And I had I was telling somebody about this on Facebook, and we were discussing an interesting theory that I had, whether it would ring true. But would you want to hear this theory?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It could completely flip the entire cinematic universe on its head for Smith's stuff. And if does happen, I would be terrified that I'd actually predicted this correctly. But obviously, one of the ideas on the first Clerks film is that they were going to shoot, who was it they were going to kill?
Brian O'Halloran's.
Yeah, well, they killed Brian. And you see it mentioned in the Clerks 3, you go, what do you mean you're going to kill me in the third act? Sort of thing. What if there's a sequel? Well, can you imagine if they show Brian being shot, and then it shows that in reality he was shot, and all this happened in his mind while he was dying?
Oh. What, so the last two films that were Clerks didn't really happen?
But yeah, like none of this stuff happened. Or alternatively, they killed, Silent Bob, and all the stuff that happened was all in like his mind and his dying minutes of life.
Oh, I mean, that would be a pretty amazing twist, wouldn't it?
It would. If you're listening, Smith, I'm copywriting it.
yeah, definitely. Get that big C on that already. So that would be quite an interesting twist. Definitely. I don't think that it would happen, because it kind of closes the door if any other films wanted to be made. But maybe.
It probably won't. But if that was the case, I'd be sat in the cinema or wherever I ended up watching it, terrified. It'd be like, oh my God, am I living karaoke in Cold Lazarus by Dennis Potter? And then I'd sit and go, why am I not getting winning lottery numbers? Damn it.
Well, I mean, if you ever do get those lottery winners, let me know.
Yeah. Well, I did have a win recently in the lottery. Big money, people. Big money. £3.70.
Ooh.
Living the dream.
That if you give me £2.70 of that will pay for my Spider-Man hire. And then you can keep the pound and maybe,
Yes.
Get another ticket.
Buy a scratcher.
Yeah.
I don't know what scratchers cost, to be honest.
Some of them are £1, some of them are £2, some of them are £5, some of them are £10, and so forth.
£10 for a scratch? Blooming heck.
Yeah, there are some that are £10 because they've got massive winnings. And there's more opportunities to win on them. So
I can see how people are addicted to gambling and lose their money then if they're on something like even as small as lottery stuff. Dear me.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And I think the problem is as well, like I just sort of like was jokingly referencing, but it's the case that you got your £3.70. If you put that back onto scratch cards, then you'd probably either lose that £3 or you'd gain another £3. You know what I mean? It's like... Yeah, or break even, The
invariable reality is that I once did do that. I bought a ticket. I won whatever the cost of the ticket was back. And then the man said, do you want the money or do you want to buy another ticket? I just buy another ticket and then lost. So, yeah. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know about you, James, but I'm getting really hot. Because it's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. I'm naked. I'm recording a podcast.
Hey, whatever works for you. It's all good because I like it. This is Codswallop After Dark. I've said it before. We're going to have the Codswallop After Dark series. We'll have it on OnlyFans.
Yep.
We'll make a fortune.
Absolutely. Yes. And, for as little as £1, you can subscribe to that channel on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Yeah. At Codswallop Pod.
Yes. Yep. Just £1, people. Just £1.
Just £1 each. But, yes. Do you fancy getting into some stories of the week?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I believe you've got 2 stories and I've got 2 stories. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
My brain has now gone, so let me just find it. There we go. We'll go with that one. Right. Yes, I have found one. It's filthy. It's hot, people.
Oh, good.
Weird. So, this is a weird one, and I've not read this before, and I'm not copying one of those biographic channels on YouTube by not reading it before and having its fresh information, I promise. So, a retired vicar has been put on the sex offenders register after he was caught getting intimate with a Henry Hoover. Other brands are available.
Although you wouldn't want to do that with a Dyson, would you?
No. It's the one called Hetty or something. So, yeah, it's equal opportunities for the Hoover.
Yeah.
So, John Jeffs, 74, was wearing just a pair of ladies' stockings and the vacuum's nozzle, which he was thrusting into when he was caught by a churchgoer who was attending a talk about Asperger's syndrome. Okay. They described how he was standing between 2 dark chairs, thrusting into a Henry Hoover at the Baptist Centre in Middleton Cheney, Northamptonshire. They said that even though he saw them, Jeffs continued pushing his groin towards the Henry, famous for its relentless and powerful suction. Very good writing there. He appeared at Northampton Magistrates Court yesterday, where he tried to deny what he had done in September 2020. Finding him guilty, a magistrate said, "Why you thought it best to bring this matter to trial, I have no idea." He told police that he did it because he felt naughty.
Fair enough.
He, as well as having to sign the sex offenders register, he was ordered to pay £845 in costs.
Hold on. Hold on a second. Sorry, hold on. He has to sign a sex offenders register.
Yeah.
What, against a Hoover?
Well, I'll get to the end of it. We can hash through it. So he also must give £200 in compensation to the victim who witnessed the sex act. His defence lawyer said Jeffs was still coming to terms with the loss of his wife at a young age and was in a lot of pain because he was ignoring his health and his diabetes was not medicated. And being Metro, that is the end of the article.
That is the end.
I also would just like to say with, the concept of coming to terms, that was not the only thing that he was coming to or with.
Yeah.
Clearly in the use of Henry the Hoover.
At least he was nice and tidy about it. It wasn't left all out on the seat.
Yeah. It was a storage area. So, the thing I find interesting, one because I initially thought, why is he on the sex offender register? I couldn't quite get my head around that one because I was thinking, I initially didn't realise he'd been caught in a public place doing this. And someone's seen him, so that's why he's on the sex offender register. What I find strange is that when he was found guilty, a magistrate said, why you thought it best to bring this matter to trial, I have no idea. So was the suggestion that he should have just fined him maybe and put him on the register? It is odd that it was taken to trial, but I do see why he's been put on the register. But yeah, what a truly bizarre thing. And I'm going to be honest, I also feel a bit sad for this guy because I think there's probably a lot of issues there.
See, I feel sorry for Henry. Henry shouldn't be exposed to that thing, you know. Just because he's got a nice long nozzle doesn't mean that the vicar's got a nice long nozzle, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a picture that states a Henry Extra, whatever that may be, that says he used a Henry Hoover, and in brackets, not the one pictured. He said he was feeling naughty.
It's a shame that he hasn't got Henry the Hoover, you know, Henry's little face, because just in case we've got some international listeners that don't know what we're talking about, I don't know if it's global or not, but it's a Hoover. Well, we'll put up a picture anyway, but it's like a round Hoover that's got a nozzle for a nose, and it's got a couple of eyes and like a little smiley face. And there's George and Hetty, I think, and something like that as well. So, but it's a shame that it didn't have like a little winky face.
I would expect more of a face with a look of horror on it.
Yeah.
A traumatized look.
Yeah, like wide eyes and like,
Yeah, definitely. But that's a truly weird one. That is a truly, truly weird one.
Yeah, well, staying on the very same subject in some ways, I move on to my first story of the week, which is a woman who pleasured herself outside of Waitrose had hordes of sex toys in her handbag.
Intriguing.
It is intriguing, and she looks like she is a little bit ashamed of herself in the photo. So, a woman has been told she's facing jail time after being caught pleasuring herself on a bench outside of Waitrose. I mean, Waitrose is exciting, but it's really not that exciting. Beverly Dean, 54, exposed her breasts as she committed the solo act in front of a pair of workers who saw her through the office window. When the police arrived on the scene in Northwich, Cheshire, they found a hoard of sex toys and lube in her handbag. She cried as she admitted outraging public decency at 3:30 p.m. on a Friday. Sorry, it might not have been a Friday at all. It was a February 25th this year. Prosecutor Shannon Carey said the defendant is seen to put her fingers in her mouth and then proceed to put them between her legs. She appeared to be masturbating. I thought I'd say it a bit more sexy.
I thought you were just saying it really quietly.
No. Trying a new tactic of being sexy.
Okay.
She stopped to smoke a cigarette and then continued to suck her fingers and place them between her legs. After she did this, she stood up from the bench and both breasts were exposed. Her blouse was unbuttoned. Her coat was hanging off her shoulders. Officers were called and the defendant was arrested.
I'm glad you've gone to a normal tone now, because our hard of hearing listeners were going, what? Who? Where?
Yeah, they can turn it up. Her property was searched and an assortment of sex toys and lubricants were found in the defendant's bag. I nearly said defiance bag then, but Dean's defence solicitor Shane O'Neill said it was her first offence and it should be dealt with by probation service.
Yeah, they're really going to want that one, aren't they?
Yeah. You can get rid of all the chewing gum off the bottom of benches or something like that as punishment. He said, we need to know what is happening within her life, and she is getting to an age and committing this offence. There was some suggestion that she was filming herself, but when the police took her phone, there was nothing on it. Dun, dun, dun. The officer looked at it and said there's nothing recorded on it. There was no room for any children to go past. We are not disputing that children may have been in the area, but what she said is that there weren't any children in the area. She accepts responsibility for what she did because she was caught wet-fingered. James, that was my joke. Come on now.
She was. That she was.
Can you laugh?
I'm not disagreeing with you. Ho, 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 ha, ha,
Thank you. Much better. The magistrate said, between now and your next court appearance, the things that need to happen are that you stay in regular contact with your legal representative and fully cooperate with the probation service. Dean's next hearing is on August 12th. Update to follow on August 12th. Dun, dun, dun.
Again, she's another one where I'm wondering what on earth is going on in the old noodle. She's probably going to have to sign the sex offender register herself.
Yeah.
That's just really weird. In both cases, this is seriously weird behaviour. It makes no sense. What I would say is maybe that those two should date because they're just like really low. They sound to be, I'd suspect, to be lonely and weird, so they might work well together. But
yeah, I think you're right there. I think that they definitely should be a couple.
I don't really understand why she was doing what she was doing.
No.
In public, it doesn't make that. Honestly, I can't get my head around. Why would you do it so blatantly? Because you know you're going to get caught.
Yeah. No, I don't get it at all. It's like really, yeah, it's quite disturbing, really, isn't it?
Very strange. So, the mayor of a small fishing village in Mexico hopes his new bride will crock his world after tying the knot with an alligator wearing a white wedding dress. Victor Hugo Souza and his cold-blooded companion sealed their marriage with a kiss. That's a brave man. As part of a centuries-old ritual to secure nature's abundance in San Pedro Huamalulula, is it? Yeah.
Could be.
The 7-year-old reptile, referred to as Little Princess, had her snout tied shut in a bid to avoid unwanted snapping. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
So she was getting married against her will then?
She was, yeah. It's an arranged marriage. Representing Mother Earth, well, it is an arranged marriage. She's believed to be deity, representing Mother Earth, and the marriage is said to be to symbolise the journey of human with the divine. The ritual is thought to date back centuries to pre-Hispanic times. Among Chontal and Hoava indigenous communities in Oaxaca State, southwest Mexico. Traditional music rang out as revelers danced during the ceremony on Thursday. We asked nature for enough rain, for enough food, though we have fish in the river, Sosa said. Oaxaca is home to many indigenous groups who are determined to preserve their languages and traditions. The ritual in San Pedro Huamala also acknowledges Catholic spirituality and involves dressing an alligator or caiman in a white wedding dress. Locals carried the bride in their arms through village streets as men fanned it with their hats. It gives me much happiness and makes me proud of my roots, said Elia Edith Aguilar, known as the godmother who organised the wedding. It's a very beautiful tradition. She described feeling privileged to carry out the ceremony and admitted spending a lot of time considering the bride's outfit. In April, a woman revealed how she married her cat to stop heartless landlords forcing her to give up her beloved pet.
Another story you covered.
Yeah. This morning raised eyebrows after featuring the wedding of a golden retriever and its owner, who gave up on men after 4 failed engagements. And that's the end of the article. God bless the Metro for their writing. It'd be an interesting, wedding, especially when the bride is looking round and looks over to see her new husband, the mayor, and says, she says to him, "Hey, that's my cousin on your feet there." I wonder what happened to Colin, you bastard, and they get an annulment.
Yeah, I was going to say the wedding night's going to be an interesting one as well, isn't it?
Well, lots of biting, that's for sure.
Yeah, stop nibbling me, love.
Yeah, things will get snappy.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, definitely. Okay, and then my final story is also animal related, but it also connects to the sexy theme that we have within our stories. If heat wave, so this is from the Metro again, so it's not if the heat wave,
Okay, yeah.
if heat wave hits 42 degrees Celsius, so again, that's like 98 Fahrenheit, something like that. Just Google it.
There, yep.
Yeah, just Google it. Bees may ejaculate themselves to death.
Okay.
One more thing to worry about in this heat wave that we're facing the gruesome death of honeybees, who have been found to suffer a difficult fate when it gets too hot. Researchers reveal that they can literally ejaculate themselves to death in extreme heat. When male worker bees are subjected to very high temperatures, their bodies begin to convulse, which forces them to ejaculate their abdomen-sized penis equivalent out of their body, right, and die from the shock.
Okay, yeah.
God, imagine that, James. Imagine if you just went outside and your penis fell off.
I'd rather not, but yeah. Am I with Henry Hoover or not at that point?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. To a casual onlooker, it may look like the bee spontaneously exploded, but new research has shown there are some bizarre sexual component to this final act. Bees try to maintain a body temperature of 35 degrees, and if things get as hot as 42, then half of the drones will die within 6 hours. The Met Office has issued an extreme heat warning from Sunday to Tuesday. So what we're moaning about at the beginning of this episode.
What we are in right now, yeah.
Yes, exactly. With the UK potentially recording its highest ever temperature. And just for any international listeners as well, just going off the story here, if anyone's thinking, oh God, well, we'll deal with that every year because I'm just going to single out America here, but that's the country that I can think of that's the most hottest. We always deal with heats, the temperature that they're moaning about. We don't have aircon. We don't have aircon at all. We just have windows and a fan, and the windows let the hot air in and the fan just circulates the hot air. So we don't have the luxury of aircon unless, like we're in an office or we were told that we should go to a public library, I think, because there's aircon there, basically. But just so that people understand why we're moaning. It's because we haven't got the luxury of aircon. Back to the story. With the immense heat waves rocking Europe, scientists are looking at developing new ways to cool them down and prevent deaths from heat exhaustion. Dr. Alison McPhee, a postdoctoral fellow at UBC's Michael Smith Laboratories focusing on bee health, said, that was a mouthful. When drones die from shock, they spontaneously ejaculate. They have this elaborate endophallus, maybe. I don't know. James is not helping, so...
I'll have to. I don't have the article in front of me, so I'll have to.
ENDOPHALLUS. Endophallus is what I'm thinking it is. That comes out.
Maybe.
Pardon?
Well, it probably is endophallus or endophallus, so.
Yeah, it's one of those words. That comes out and is about the size of their own abdomen. It is pretty extreme. She also says she was alerted to the phenomenon after noticing a high level of bee deaths following the heatwave in British Columbia during 2021. Beehives typically maintain a temperature of 35 degrees, and although the Colombian bees should have been able to cope with the temperature, the excess heat ended up killing many of them off. We know that after 6 hours at 42 degrees, half of the drones will die of heat stress. There's quite a bit more, but I think we're going on about the same sort of thing, really. I'm just quickly yeah, so there's quite a bit more of this story, but I am going to end it there because it is a lot of like repeating itself, really, to be honest. But I did notice that bees can naturally find water. So, at least they can try and keep themselves cooled down by, going for a little dip.
They have a chance.
They do, yes. You've gone quiet all of a sudden.
No, I'm here. I was listening to your story.
No, I know, but you just sounded a bit quieter. But that's fine. You don't worry about it because we're about to finish.
Okay. Is that any better?
Yes.
I'd leant back slightly, so.
Okay. There you go. And also a final tip as well that I've just noticed as well is bees will naturally go find water and bring it back to the hive and fan it with their wings to cool down, which achieves evaporative cooling, much like we do when we sweat, which I'm doing right now.
Cool.
So that's actually quite interesting, isn't it? And
it is.
Giving them syrup nearby should let them do the same thing, and the sugar in it motivates them to take it down faster. So obviously that will keep them nourished as well. So if you're out there and you're looking for some bees and you're looking after some bees, make sure they dip in some water and maybe give them some syrup so that they can, go about their business and cool down so that they don't ejaculate and die.
On that note.
Yeah, exactly. Well, James, I don't know about you, but I think that we've been talking enough Codswallop this week.
I would agree.
Good. Well, in that case, then, I am Gemma.
I am still James.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit of a sweaty puddle of, water now. But, still, we've done it. We survived.
We have. We powered through. We have survived.
We did.
My hay fever's kicking the crap out my voice, but we have survived.
Yeah, I think that's what's been going on with mine as well, because I've been a lot of sneezing and coughing going on as well, which hopefully this week I will remember to take out. Last week I forgot to take a couple of coughs out, so I do apologise to anybody who was offended by my coughs. But, I did it, and I'm human. So there we have it. So if you'd like to follow us on social media, it's at Codswallop Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So made it quite simple for everybody, hopefully. And also, that's about it, really. Just stay nice and cool out there, everyone. And we're going to end with a public service announcement, aren't we, James?
We are.
So stay tuned for the next couple of seconds. Because, I think you'll find it quite funny. So anyway, for now, I have been Gemma. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay sorry. Safe, you are James.
No. I am James. Stay safe, everyone. Be careful.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This is a personal safety message. Hello. Warm, isn't it? I'm an actor. And I'm English. So you can trust me. Listen to my calming voice. Might make you think of David Niven or Nigel Havers. Trustworthy people. So here I am, sat in the garden in this warm weather, as I'm sure many of you are, enjoying the sun and the warmth. But wait, some of us aren't quite so lucky. Some of us cannot do these wonderful, normal things. So, for as little as £1 a month, you can help these poor, unfortunate, wretched people. For as little as £1 a month, you can sponsor a ginge. Buying them basic things such as extreme sunblock, parasols, or the ability to simply not to have to sit outside in the sun and run the risk of spontaneously combusting. So, dig deep, get that £1 and sponsor a ginge today. Thank you.